And today's the day that I actually finally do a current mod list. Okay, so let me catch y'all up. As y'all can clearly see, the bike doesn't look anything like when I bought it. Right? As you can also see, the front is higher than it is in the pictures. Now, I'm gonna start off with the front. 120/70/12, gold valves, real Honda Inkies. I forgot which bike this one came off of, but it didn't necessarily bolt in, so I did have to drill another hole just so I can get it in. Not a problem though. It's zip tied on there right now, only because I got to drill out another hole because I just changed these forks yesterday, and on my previous forks, the hole right here was actually, the threads was stripped. So that's why I had it zip tied. But anyway, when I just did these forks yesterday, I had to change, I had to change my brake line. This is actually the brake line that came on the bike when I bought the bike. It's not the brake line that I actually upgraded to. I think this is the stock rotor that came on the bike. I'm running speed spacers. I got Honda Grom axles. These are the AliExpress forks, which I just installed literally yesterday, and as you can see, they're hitting my handlebars. So I'm actually about to order handlebar risers that also lean it forward or back. I'm not gonna get the ones that it's like this. I'm getting the one that goes like this, if anything. But yeah, headlight, I almost forgot about that. The headlight, flush mount turn signals. I got these levers, came off of the E-Monster, which only thing I had to do was, this one bolted straight up, the brake, because the Evader had both brakes. Now this one, only thing I had to do was, this is actually the stock piece. I had to drill it out so the bolt can go through, and then I had to, let me see if I can get in there. Focus. It's not gonna focus, but I had to get in there and I had to grind that down so I can actually slot that in, so I can actually screw them out. Now I'm just gonna assume these are ASV knockoffs. I also got a Nibby quarter turn throttle, which it works. Not gonna complain. Not gonna complain at all. Also came with the grips. As you can see, my plastic is kind of fucked up because I had a little oopsie, which is how I ended up getting these, because my bike was slammed. Now, one thing that I did do is I opted for a quick release setup. Now, with the quick release trellis, literally the only thing it is just the pins that hold it in, where the original bolts screw in. It's the same thread pitch, if I'm not mistaken. It's an M6 by 125 thread. Okay, cool. Now, I have a locking nut in here, so then that way, because I'm still in the middle of adjusting the width of it. Once I figure out the spacing on the back of the washers, because inside of it, as you can see, there is this plate in here, and I'm trying to actually push it onto the plate so then that way it's flush. But once I figure out the spacing on the washers, I can figure out the spacing on here. And what I actually want to do is I want to get these tacked in, not completely welded in, only as a just in case, but I would want to get them tacked in, so then that way I can get some vice grips or something. I could just pop the tack if necessary, maybe 1 or 2 tacks. Now, Nibby 22mm carb, Nibby ignition coil. This isn't the original engine off of this bike. The original engine for this bike is actually sitting right there on the ground. That's the engine right there from this bike. The original, what is it? neutral all the way down. So I did swap to one that has 1 down, neutral, 3 up. This is just a fuel filter that came off of my green Vader, not my green, my red Vader over there. I forgot, wrong bike. What else? I'm on this side. These came off of my E-Monster because I actually lost one of the other side, but this black actually is cleaner than the original black. Also pulled the back plastic off along with the bracket that I needed to put the key in, because when I bought the bike it was just the cable, so you could just pull it out. I just did the rear sets right before I did the tires. Now I did have to modify the rear set a little bit, which I keep locking the nut so it squeezes it so it won't move, because that's the only thing that's causing me to get a false neutral when it's not locked. Then it just, see how that wiggle, and all of that is right here by the shaft. So I just got to retighten that down if anything, but I'm actually trying to figure out what I can do to go about fixing this. Now I'm also looking into a shifter brace. I'll get more into that later once I actually buy it and see if the one that I'm gonna get works. If it does work, cool. If not, cool. I don't know if you see that right there, but that is a cradle mount for the engine. Now you'll see more of that once I go to the other side, but yeah, the rear sets, I got those on. I actually ordered a foldable peg because I don't like the fact that this one is just solid mounted. I like how this one folds. It folds back and it's like slotted in to fold back, but the one that I'm getting, it just screws on and then you orientate it however you want. So I'm orientated to where it folds up. Grab handles, I know y'all see this, but I'm gonna get to that in a second. The grab handles, I'm actually contemplating on getting some black ones, but they work. They actually prevented the back plastics from breaking when I had my little whoopsie. I only know that because of the little scratch on the corner of them. Now, exhaust came on the bike. Here we are at the back wheel. 130, 7012. Once again, another Grom Inky. Grom axle. Speed spacers. I have a race hub. So that is the Grandfather's race hub, which is the cushless setup. This is a stock sprocket that I'm actually in the process of like drilling out to lighten it up until I actually buy a lightweight sprocket, which is on the way. I'm gonna buy one, but I do plan on drilling right here and right here all around basically. So I'm trying to make it as light as possible. I may go right here, have 5 holes per space. Still trying to figure that out. I'm just waiting on my punch to come in. I think that comes in, if it didn't come in today while I was at work, it comes in tomorrow. But I also am running all balls wheel bearings, front and rear. Now, as far as that goes, the hub came with a wheel bearing in it. So I didn't replace that one with the all balls because it was a brand new bearing. But I do still have the all balls bearing to replace if necessary. Tail light. It's an integrated light. I just put this on literally this morning. License plate. This bracket came with the light. I literally just installed this wing. Like, I'm actually waiting for it to like set because I kind of like plastic welded it into place, so then that way it doesn't go anywhere. Now I also reverse mounted it, meaning I didn't put the little plate up here with the double-sided tape and then it just sat up top. No, I ended up using some plastic weld to go up under where the light is, well, above where the light is. Clamped it down so the plastic weld was set, and then yeah, I got the base set. Now I just need to get the actual wing set to the base, only because I took it out for like literally like a 2 to 3 minute ride and I lost the nut. I lost one of these tiny nuts. So I just plastic welded the top together. Even though it is an adjustable wing, it's supposed to be able to tilt a little bit. I'm just gonna keep it tilted down. Now, back here, this is, I like this brake line, I really do. Now, here's my thing. For the price that I paid for these brake lines, I highly recommend them because they are adjustable brake lines, meaning you can change out these banjo bolts. All you gotta do is just unscrew it right here, or you can change the length of the line. Now, I bring that up because, like I mentioned, I had to change my front brake line because these forks are taller than the last forks that I had. So I already planned on getting a longer brake line for the rear because honestly, I don't like how I have this little hoop right here going into the 90. I would prefer if this company made a 90 that comes out into the side versus up or down, you know, a left or right. But for what it's worth, once again, this is a good part. So I'm gonna end up just swapping this line. This is a 50 centimeter line. Yeah, this is a 50 centimeter line, stainless steel. I'm gonna end up swapping on my 60 centimeter for the rear, and I'm gonna probably go, I'm thinking maybe 70 or 80 for the front. Now, as we come over here, I can now actually show you the cradle brace, which, what the hell just happened? There we go. I can show you the cradle brace. Now, that's the engine bolt. This one right here, that one has a spacer in between the frame. The spacer itself wasn't long enough, so I had to add like a little 1-inch spacer in between that long spacer and the frame just to get it to fit snug, but it does fit snugly. I had to just drill out a hole in the frame to get the bolt through on both sides, but it works. I'm feeling less vibrations. I also did get a, you can't see it, but I got a, let me see if I can sneak in there. Can't. I got a Nibby starter solenoid. I am about to order a rear shock. What else? Yeah, rear shock. I'm about to fuck around, and like I said, I gotta get the riser. I'm gonna get the 2-inch drop kit because honestly, I liked how it looked when it was slammed. I'm not gonna say I don't like it like this because it rides way better as far as being functional, but I like the static look. That's just me. Yeah, so 2-inch drop is coming for that. But yeah, that's where I'm at with the bike. Any questions about anything, feel free to ask. Like, I'm an open book. I will explain how I went about doing that. I'll explain how I went about installing that. I'll explain how I installed the third cradle mount. Once again, it's bolt-in. It's a bolt-in cradle mount. It's not welding it in. But yeah, any questions, just feel free to ask. She's doing fucking good. Still a work in progress. Still got some parts coming in. Still got some parts to buy. Dag nabbit, I was hoping I got everything in one shot. I knew I was gonna forget something. Clutch cable, right? I got a Nibby clutch cable, which the Nibby clutch cable is actually too long, right? So what I ended up doing was, here's the perks of having quick release, right? What I did was I routed it this way, right? It goes around my gas tank. I put it through this loop with a zip tie. Zip tied it here, which I originally was gonna loop it around, and I actually had to zip tie it further back, but it is what it is. And because it screws in, I kind of had to bore this out some. I am still thinking of like cutting this in about half, maybe, so then that way I can actually get some threads where I need them at, and I can actually screw it in. Cutting it in half, and then like, I don't know, because it's not a flat surface, like it's kind of sloped. Also, this is a E3 spark plug, E3.38 if I'm not mistaken. It replaces a CR7 plug, which honestly this one has been doing me pretty fucking good. No complaints coming from it. I should replace this hose, which is crazy because this is actually new-ish. It came with the car, like, and the car, I don't even know how many miles I have on this car, but it's not that many for this hose to be looking like this. But yeah, I'm probably about to replace that now. One thing though, so when I did swap this engine, because I did mention I swapped the engine, right now only thing I see is neutral. I don't have any gear indicators, my lights don't work, and I still haven't like figured that out. Also, another thing is I've noticed over the past couple days, if my battery dies, it dies, meaning I'm assuming that my stator isn't charging. It is what it is. I gotta look.